Welcome to episode 20 of the Mile 62 podcast. I'm your host, Richard Elkins, broadcasting to you from Pleasanton, California today. Yeah, I'm not in Texas traveling, so thought it'd be a good time to do a podcast and update everyone on my training and something exciting that happened in the airport, running related. So I thought I'd do an episode on running in the airport. I have a lot of stories about running through the airport O.J. Simpson style, and today was no different. I've gotten beat when it comes to pace through the airport. But let's put a pin in that subject for a second and talk about my training up to the last few weeks. Excuse me. I've been really increasing my training. I've been cycling probably around 50 miles a week. Rucking probably 10 miles a week. Usually when I go rucking, my son's playing Pokemon Go, so pretty brisk hike with my 20-pound plate. And one thing I started 2 weeks ago, kind of inspired by my brother, is swimming. So I've gotten into swimming as a cross training as well, and I think I did 2,000 yards 2 weeks back, and then last week I did about 3,500 yards. So getting some good workouts, still doing weightlifting almost every day, just a little bit here and there at home. And it's really starting to show its benefits. Hopefully I will be in Jeff Browning type shape by the end of the summer. That's a joke. But he is my idol, Amazing what he can do at his age and still winning races. So what am I talking? Before I go any further in the biking, my brother bought me a vintage road bike, so I should have that next week. When I get back from California, I'll try that out. He's been buying a bunch of vintage bikes and found a really good one that has really some excellent hardware on it. So I'm going to toss it up on a road bike so I won't be just riding my mountain bike. Okay, let's get to the subject at hand. Running in the airport. You guys know that if you've heard my previous episodes, I travel a lot. I usually go to China a lot, Asia, mostly China, almost every 6 to 8 weeks. But I haven't traveled in probably 3 months, 4 months, maybe a little bit longer than that because of the virus and also some work issues. But traveling has gone from sucking to really sucking. I mean, when we had all the problems with the Middle East and all the new security issues, check this, check that, take off your shoes, take off your belt, irritating as crap. We've been doing that for a couple of years. Well, if you haven't been traveling during this virus situation, you haven't seen nothing yet. This is my first trip since this year, as the virus situation seems to be getting better, but airports are not fun at all. You go to the airport and there's only one. The only good news out of the whole situation is you get to park in really good parking for dirt cheap prices, because a lot of the airports, like Austin, they can't run the shuttle buses, so they're just offering the garage parking at the long-term rate, so I guess some advantage. Anyways, you need to have a mask on, which I'm all in favor of. I wear a mask all the time anyways, but the challenge is when you get into the airport, they have a rule where you need to be wearing a mask, but most people don't. So it's frustrating. However, when you do get on the airplane, they're enforcing you to wear a mask, which I think is great. So everyone's wearing a mask. Everyone's looking at each other all worried. You got glasses on and mask on. You don't know what the situation's going to be. You don't know if somebody near you is sick or not. It's kind of nerve-wracking. Well, today I transferred in Phoenix, and my wife got me a new bag, and actually 2 new bags. And I landed around 9 o'clock, and a few minutes early, but my next flight left at 9:50, so I had a really short transfer. And it's to go to the other side of the airport where I needed to go was probably about half mile, 3/4 of a mile. Who knows? Maybe it's a mile. It's pretty far. You know, how it works is you get off at one gate and you always need to go to the farthest gate. Well, I moved pretty briskly. I was carrying my one small bag and my little bit larger bag with my clothes. It's about 25 pounds probably. And got all the way to the other airport and pushed pretty hard pace. But went to the restroom and looked down. I heard a phone ring. I looked down from my phone and my phone was not in there. And I figured it must have fell out. And I looked down and the pockets were bottomless. These pockets don't have a bottom to them. It's where it slides onto another bag. And I noticed that because I put a charge cable in there and it was still in there, but my phone was not there. A sense of panic. You know, it's already about 9:20, 9:25, and I'm already at the other side of the airport, and I'm thinking, where did my phone fall out? So I sprinted. I shouldn't say sprinted. I ran really fast. I had both of my bags. Keep in mind, I was wearing wingtips and also had a mask on. So I ran all the way to the other side of the airport. Asked the gate attendant, did you find a phone? Then she went on the plane to check, see if it fell out, and it seemed like eternity, but it was 5 minutes. And then she said, no, you didn't find it. So I said, oh no, my phone's lost, you know. A person from the company I'm going to visit in California is going to call me when I arrive, and how's he going to know? It's just, you know, losing your phone is the worst thing that can happen to you. I guess almost as bad as losing your wallet. And so I take off running again, basically the other direction, back toward the gate, because it was probably 9:30, 9:35, and I was looking everywhere. Stopped at one place, and it was like customer service, and asked if they found a phone. They said no. And then I started running to my gate, and you will not believe what happened. It's like a saint, you know. They get on the intercom and they call my name and say that please come to the counter to return to get your property. Well, it's a gate where I'm going to go to my next flight. Well, it turns out that I dropped my phone. Somebody picked it up, and my wife called at the same time, and basically they found out who I was, and they put my phone. They took it to the next counter, and the other side of the airport. I don't know if it's probably an airport employee, I would assume. But anyways, talking about good luck. Yeah. Anyways, I got one heck of a workout. I ran both directions and really pushing it with 2 bags. I was dressed for work and had a mask on. Boy, does wearing a mask make a big difference when you're running. I've heard some race directors talk about maybe joking that if runners might need a mask or not. I can tell you right now that's not going to happen. You kill people wearing a mask. Anyways, I got one heck of a workout today. And this has happened to me before. I'm not losing property, but when I travel to China, I always tell people when you travel to China, you better make sure that your final destination is the city that you land in. Because if you transfer flights, sometimes you have to carry your bags and close connections, and sometimes you run into problems in customs and things take a long time. But I've sprinted through airports so many times, and it's the ultimate workout. But being a runner, being a trail runner, really benefits you traveling. I think it makes you stronger, and when you run into situations like this, it really helps. I couldn't imagine someone who doesn't exercise going through what I went through today. I don't think they would have made it. They would have missed their flight. Also, sometimes when you're traveling, I found that, like I know in Hong Kong airport and also Singapore, you can get, actually in the China airports too, they have these luggage carts what you can do is you can put your bag in a luggage cart, and if you have a long transfer, you can push it around in circles around the terminal, and that's a heck of a good workout. And unfortunately, usually in the airports, the GPS is blocked, so you're not going to get a Strava file from it, but you can get a good workout. But just find your luggage cart and push your stuff around. I just find ways to exercise on the road, because you never know what's going to happen to you. I'm at my hotel. I'm in a nice hotel, and I figured, this week, since I did 50 miles running last week, and all the biking and swimming, I'll just take an easy week, because I'm traveling, and I'll do some workouts in the gym and maybe do some swimming. I show up to the hotel, they say the gym's closed and the pool's closed. And it's like, well, what am I going to do? So I'll do some core workouts in the room, but anyways, you got to improvise sometimes. I really enjoy rucking, and carrying bags through the airport is just like rucking. But I thought it was an interesting story. Turned out to be very positive. And one thing I always say, there are a lot of good people out there. You watch the media and stuff. People, it sounds like it's all gloom and doom. Where everyone's not being nice to each other. But I find that not to be the case. Today, someone was a real saint and turned in my phone, and that's happened to me before. When I was working in China a long time ago, I had a really expensive phone when I worked for Nokia. It's one of the phones that only employees had. We called it the brick. It's like a computer. And that phone in China is the most expensive phone. And I was in a Starbucks, and I left it on the table because it kind of blended into the color of the table. I left, and I come back. The phone, somebody turned in the phone. And that's a phone that uses a SIM card. Anybody could have used that phone as their own phone. There are a lot of good people in the world. And today, someone made my day, and I don't even know who it was. But anyways, enjoy your travels if you can, and try to improvise your training, because you can get a good workout in the airports. Sometimes it's forced upon you, and your running background and your fitness level will really help you on the road. Well, that's it for today. Hope you have a great week of training, and we got races coming up. In Texas, we got Habanero 100 coming up in August, and the race directors are really starting to firm up these dates so we can run real races, not just virtual races all the time. Anyways, I wish you a good week of training, and if you'd like to follow me on Strava, Runner RWE, Richard Runner RWE, and host of the Mile 62 podcast. You can find me that way on Strava. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. It's just Runner RWE. And if you'd like to send me some feedback on the show, it's runnerrwe@gmail.com. Welcome your questions and suggestions for a future podcast. And if you're a trail runner or an endurance athlete and you'd like to be on the podcast, send me an email. I'm looking for people to interview on my show. And shout out to my sponsors, Squirrel's Nut Butter, and great product for chafing and any kind of lubrication you need running. Chafing is a big deal, especially in the summertime on these long events. And Ultra Aspire, I use their hydration packs. They're great. And use their lighting. Their lighting I've actually used long before they were a sponsor of mine. Highly recommend it. I love the waist belts. I use headlamps as well. As usually I use two lights. Usually when I'm running, I run like a freight train through the woods. I got a light on my head and a light on my waist, but typically I like to just use the waist light if I can get around and get away with it, and keep my headlamp in my vest until it's needed. Because if you're doing a lot of very tricky terrain, up and down, very steep, you really need a headlamp too, and it's a good backup if it's extremely dark situation. But the nice thing about a waist light, it just doesn't bother you. You can wear a lot of headlamps after a few hours. They really start to bother you in your head because you got to keep it so tight, and Usually I put like a bandana underneath it, so it won't slip during the sweat during the summer. But they're just a lot of trouble compared to waist light. But anyways, enjoy your week running, and stay tuned. Should drop next episode in a few days. Take care.